Very honored, like have like a Congressman Lieu in our Florida to visiting us, so we guys can meet each other. Hopefully, like our gather here, Lieu 就是说我越简单的，
没问题，没问题。
就是说，希望我们用我们的一点点心意，能帮到他。以后在需要我们的时候，大家尽量团结一致。因为毕竟我们是华人，我们是少数民族。We have get together stronger, like together, and we always need support whenever he needs us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now. I want to welcome Congressman Lieu and Betty, the wife, to come to Florida. It is very important for our community, especially the Asian community, for somebody who's in the DC area to understand what our needs are, what the Asian community is looking for. We have our own small community that we try to grow to support ourselves. But I think what we're lack of right now is somebody who's above us that could hear our voice and able to help us. So I think that it doesn't matter who you are, Chinese, Vietnamese, Filipino, Korean, if we have a face that's Asian in the White House, I think we need all the support that we can to support Ted as a Congress. So that way, in return, he's going to be able to help us to hear our voice, what we need in our small little community. So I want to thank you, Ted, for being here tonight.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, Ted.
Okay.
One time.
Yeah, sure. 大家好，我是刘英平，国会议员。我的妈妈在福建生的，我的爸爸在河北生的，我在台湾生的，3岁半来美国，谢谢你们来。So I'm Congressman Ted Lieu. I'm so honored that you all did this event for me. And I'm here with my wife, Betty. Betty, in addition to being the love of my life, she is also a school board member in our hometown of Torrance and a California Special Education Commissioner. So I'm going to share with you my story, and then I'm going to talk to you about what's happening in Washington, D.C., and then talk about what's happening with the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities, and then happy to answer any questions that you may have. So I first of all want to thank High Pay for helping to put this together, and for calling Jesse, who then helped put this together. This food, by the way, was amazing. So it was so good. And thank you for the food. It was really amazing. So my story is the same as many of yours or your parents or your grandparents. I am an immigrant. And when I came to America, my parents decided to go to Cleveland, Ohio. And we were poor at the beginning. My parents and I, we lived in the basement of a person's home. They went to flea markets and sold gifts and jewelry to make ends meet. They worked hard, and after many years, they opened one gift store in a shopping center, and then they saved their money, worked 7 days a week, opened one gift and jewelry store in a shopping mall. My brother and I would help watch the store because we were free labor, but eventually they expanded to multiple stores. And in my mind, they achieved the American dream. They went from being poor to a home, gave my brother and I a great education. My brother is now a doctor, and my parents still remind me of that. But it's one reason I joined the U.S. Air Force on active duty. I believe I can never get back to America, everything this amazing country has given to me and my family. One reason I also chose to remain in the reserves. I served 4 years active duty and then served an additional 21 years in the reserves. I retired last term. It's also one reason I'm in politics, make sure that this dream remains open for people who want to work hard and succeed. My story is not even that unique, right? It occurs to millions of people across generations, and very few countries allow this to happen. After the Air Force, I went and worked in the legal profession. I'm also a recovering lawyer. And I then worked at UBS Financial Services. I was elected to Torrance City Council and then the state legislature. And now I'm in my 6th term in Congress. I was elected as vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus, which is the number 4 position within Democratic Caucus. The way we're set up, our leader is Hakeem Jeffries, our whip is Catherine Clark, the chair is Pete Aguilar, and I am the vice chair. And we're trying to make sure that we can stop stupid stuff from happening and then flip the House in 2 years. So Washington, D.C., we've seen the Trump administration issue a number of executive orders which are brazenly illegal and unconstitutional. The courts have stopped a number of these orders, and there are judges that have been appointed by Ronald Reagan, George Bush, and Trump himself that have halted a number of these actions. So for example, a judge halted the birthright citizenship order that was going to eliminate birthright citizenship. A judge halted the mass firing of over 2,000 USAID employees. A judge halted and attempted to freeze all government payments. A judge halted essentially the ability of the Trump administration to have Elon Musk get your social security number and just rifle through all this sensitive information. And so a lot of these cases are ongoing. There's going to be continual litigation, but we do see our judiciary standing up and just applying the law and halting a lot of these orders. Now, some of them are not illegal, and some of them are not unconstitutional. So those were either not challenging or they're going to win in court. But for none of these orders, the Trump administration is losing and will continue to lose in court. At the same time, the Democrats in the House have a mobilization strategy and a legislative strategy. So we're also introducing bills that would stop some of this. So I'm a co-author of the Taxpayer Data Protection Act that basically says you can't have a 19-year-old and Elon Musk getting your social security number and just rifling through all this sensitive information. You may have seen recently Doge is what they call themselves. They posted classified information on their website. So there's a lot of not very good stuff that is happening that we're trying to stop. And then we're trying to mobilize people across America to raise their voices. I think Abraham Lincoln had it right when he said public sentiment is everything. With it, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. So I want all of you to understand your own power to shape public sentiment. And some of you are already doing that through nonprofits you have created, through your organizing efforts. That's all very, very helpful. Social media is free, right? You write an interesting post on social media, then maybe someone in Ohio reads it, or in Oregon, or in Texas. Think about writing letters to the editor. It is true, lots of people write letters to the editor. Also true, many of them come from the same people. So when you start writing in, you're going to get published eventually. You can start changing hearts and minds, and just start raising your voices, and that's all very, very helpful. And so now let me conclude about some issues with the Asian American community. So it's horrible what Florida has done with a number of these very draconian laws targeted at Chinese people. And not only are they, to me, unconstitutional and discriminatory, but there is no evidence that it does one thing to help national security, right? They're completely, wholly, in my view, unrelated to any attempt at actually trying to resolve any national security issues. So we just have to keep fighting back, and you don't know when something will change in your favor, but if you don't fight back, it will never happen, right? And so we have to keep fighting and fighting, and hopefully we can get some changes. In Congress, I'm a co-author of Judy Chu's bill that would bar states from passing these alien land laws. I call this basically Chinese Exclusion Act version 2.0, which is what it is. So not going to pass this term under Republican control, but if we flip the House, then we can try to have that bill pass the House. We're only 3 seats away from flipping the House, so it's very, very close in the U.S. Congress. Historically, every new president has lost the House in the next midterm election. So we're historically on very solid footing. And I think this is the closest House we've had in a very, very long time. So in the past, we had to flip 30-some seats. This time, we just have to flip 3 seats. So we feel pretty good about flipping the House, but we have to work at it. Other issues affecting the Asian American community, at least at the national level, you do see Republicans trying to put in the China initiative again. So let me take a step back. The China initiative was put in the first Trump administration. And we fought back against it. And when the Biden administration came in, we met with Attorney General Merrick Garland. I'm on the House Judiciary Committee. He came in for a hearing. I publicly questioned him about the China initiative. We did press conferences. We wrote op-eds. We got the members of Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus to fight back. And the Department of Justice, to Merrick Garland's credit, eliminated the China initiative. Now, Republicans trying to put it back through law. Hopefully, we can stop that. And so far, the Senate has not passed the House bill to do that. We'll see what the new Department of Justice does with the China initiative. But what we saw is simply the indiscriminate targeting of primarily Chinese American professors. The Department of Justice has an astoundingly high conviction rate, something about 95% or so. So if you're indicted by the Department of Justice, you're in big trouble. Except when it came to the China initiative. The Department of Justice was losing these cases. And there was this one case of Professor Aming Hu that many of you are familiar with, and UCA worked on it, and High Pay and others. If you look at it, the federal judge entered an order that basically said, even looking at all the evidence in a light most favorable to the prosecution, no reasonable jury could have found that Professor Hu had committed any crime. So what that told me is that if Professor Hu's last name was Smith, they never would have brought that case. So there was basically this huge pressure for the Department of Justice to just bring these cases, primarily against Chinese American professors that really had no basis in fact. So hopefully they're not going to restart that up again, but I don't know. I don't know what this new Department of Justice is going to do. We just keep fighting back. Let me end on some hopeful news. According to the last 2 U.S. Census reports, Asian Americans are the fastest growing group in America. Asian Americans have more than doubled in size since 2000. And the Pew Research Organization put out a report a few years ago saying that by 2055 or sooner, Asian Americans will become the largest immigrant group in America. And so now is an exciting time to be part of the Asian American community. And we need leaders like you to continue stepping up. And I do believe that we're going to be able to turn this country around in 2 years, if not sooner. Thank you so much for coming here and doing this fundraiser, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.